Hey guys, Julien Guiteau here, super excited because today we are on set of Adventures with Julien, episode 13, at the amazing historical State Theater in Easton, PA. I have the pleasure of sitting down with Miss Shelley Brown, President and CEO of the State Theater. How you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm grateful.
My pleasure.
Beautiful day outside.
Beautiful day inside, always in the State
amazing.
Theater.
It's
Look
beautiful
at
in
this
here.
place.
So first off, what is the State Theater and when did it open?
The State Theater opened in 1926, and it was a theater before that, but it wasn't the State Theater before that.
Is that like 93 years?
Mm-hmm. This
Wow.
is our 93rd continuous season.
That's amazing.
And this was one of at least 7 or 8 theaters in Easton, and
Wow.
it wasn't the nicest of them. I mean, look at this. Can you imagine that? And now it's the only thing.
That's amazing.
Only one left.
Last one standing. That's amazing. I love it. What type of shows do the State Theater hold?
We are a gathering place, and at least since I've been here, I mean, in the early days, there was burlesque, it was a movie house, it was vaudeville, it was all those things. But since I've been here, which is almost 30 years, we've done all different kinds of programming. My vision of this theater, our vision, is that it's a place where people come to be entertained and to be together. So whether it's opera or Broadway or rock and roll or boxing, or whatever. So the answer is really, we reflect what we believe the community wants to see. We don't have a protocol like, okay, we're dance, we're classical. We are a gathering place where people are gathered to be entertained and people to find what entertains them.
I love that. What is the Freddy Awards? I know you're the creator of the Freddy Awards, and explain its importance to the theater community.
It's interesting. It's been an interesting ride. I mean, we're going to be doing our 18th Freddy's this year. And it began, I heard about these high school musical theater programs that exist in the country. The Freddy Awards began I knew there were high school musical theater programs that other theaters were involved in and then other organizations were involved with across the country. I heard about that. We're the only ones that do it with a live television show, which is a little bit different, and I think has made it a little more community. It's certainly more visible in the community, but the original thought was that we would get high school musical students involved here, and it would mean a lot to the high school musical community, but that's what it would be. But it's turned into something really even more important than that. It does mean a lot to high school students who are in musical theater. You don't have to be beautiful, you don't have to be handsome, you don't have to be tall and thin, or you don't have to be a type. There is a role for everybody in theater. And that is especially important, in my opinion, in high school. Not everybody's a star. Not everybody's self-confident. And even if you're, running a spotlight or teching in the show or whatever, there is a place for you. In my experience, if you want to be involved in the high school show, you're not going to be turned away. You might not get the lead role, but you're going to have a role. Are they selling out their shows now, getting bigger audiences because people in the community have seen the Freddys on TV and go, holy cow, I had no idea? Yes. Are they able to keep their programs a little better funded? Are they able to talk with pride and say, see what we do here? Are people in this community able to look and say, wow, I only hear bad stuff about kids. Look at this. This is amazing. Yes, all that is true. But in my heart, when I see a kid or somebody emails me and says, I was lonely, I didn't have anything. And I've gotten those. And now I'm part of something. And it's really important to me. And it saves lives. It really, truly does. So there you go.
That's beautiful. And at the end of the day, the freedom of expression and showing these students what the magnitude of theater can do is amazing. And for you to create something like this, it's saved so many lives. And at the end of the day, it's put a bright light in front of someone to know like there is hope for them to chase their dreams. So
thank you.
That's amazing.
And even if it's just finding a peer group that you're comfortable with in high school, that's enough. And then all the other stuff is gravy, to be able to spotlight all this talent and everything, because there's so much talent. And the shows, just keep getting more and more ambitious. I mean, what high schools do? The producers and, Les Mis and these things. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and Chicago with the original Fosse choreography. I mean, who does that?
That's amazing.
So it's really exciting to
Yeah.
see. Well,
By
and
the
the other
Freddy
thing
Awards.
about it, we were talking before about the opening number, because your cameraman, your director of photography
Shout out, Stay.
was in that. But we decided to turn it into a real production number. And so we have a choreographer and a musical director, and these are not always students that were lead roles or anything. They could have been, on the stage crew or in the chorus or whatever, not a big intensive part. And so we get these guys here, so we have 30 schools, so there's 120. And we work them really, really hard with a really important number that's going to be the first thing in the show, on TV. This place is so loud, you can't even imagine. And, and they work so hard. And then the payoff is when that first number's over. And the audience goes completely insane because they deserve it. And, what that shows you is excellence takes work. It isn't just standing on a stage and singing a song so that people can say, oh, that was really good. It's really hard to be excellent. And if you don't ever learn that, you won't know that things are achievable through hard work.
They now know what it takes to be great and excellent.
Hard work. Because, and that's the other thing about the schools. I think among the 30 schools, yes, there's competition. But I mean, I've heard it, I've seen it, I've sat behind students who are watching other students from other schools rehearse their number. And I've heard kids actually turn to each other and go, like, wow, that was incredible. Like there's so much respect. One pair of guys one year looked at each other and said, they didn't know I was sitting there. And then the one said to the other, oh my God, that was so much better than ours.
Wow.
But in an admiring, like it doesn't have to be, it isn't about the better, it's about the respect. We bring in shows complete.
Okay.
We're not a producing theater. There's a difference. Producing theaters have costumes and directors and sets and things like that. We don't have that here.
Okay.
We're a presenting. We present shows.
I see.
Not produce them. We do produce the Freddys.
Okay.
So that's different.
It really takes a village to have
takes a
everybody
village.
build the set,
It
have the
takes
show, take down the set.
the show's the third week in May, and we start on it. The production part starts on it like the first week of May.
Wow.
It takes that long, so we can't do anything else here.
It's incredible.
We devote that time to the Freddys.
Explain how you've seen the State Theater bring families and communities together.
Oh, well, there aren't a lot of places anymore that people get together. If you think back, and maybe you can remember this, maybe it's longer than I think, that, people used to gather a lot. They would gather places. People would go to church, people would go, there'd be a lot of gathering. And, people would go to the library, go shopping, but now you can kind of, if you want to, you can sort of order in, you can watch movies, you can do things at home or alone. A lot of people don't go to church anymore, they don't go. This is a place of fellowship. There's 1,500 seats here.
Wow.
A good artist has everybody on the same page.
Wow.
And there's tremendous goodwill among people, and they're talking to each other, and they're happy, and they're leaving, and some people continue the evening, or they're there with friends, or some people are not, or they go home, And what always strikes me about this business is that I thought when I first came here that it's about really what's on the stage going that way. And a lot more of it than you think is about what's coming this way. When an artist comes out for sound check in an empty theater, they're good. They're really good. But that electricity that happens between an audience and an artist, which is technically called the kinetic transference of energy. I call it that thing.
Yeah.
There's that moment when the connection happens and it goes from good to great. The artist comes to life. It's magical. Now, for some people who are coming to a show here, they're coming because they're a fan. We had Boz Scaggs here this week, okay?
Wow.
Some people are coming because they love Boz Scaggs. Some people are coming because they're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary or something like that. Some people are coming just because it's something to do. But some people are coming because they need something to take them away from pain or trouble or illness or sadness. And so for 2 hours, they're somewhere else. And that lifts them up. You know, so there's so many different stories. Sometimes there's a story and you think, you know, this is going to matter. And you can't imagine how much it can matter. And so that's what I mean. It's much different than, you know, you think it's going to be. It takes the audience, it takes the artists, it takes a lot to make an experience. And it can mean the world to people.
Impacting their lives on a bigger, powerful note than you could even imagine.
Exactly.
Something small may mean something huge to them.
And sometimes it really touches the artist too. I mean, if you think about it, if they're really famous, they're always getting barraged with requests for things. And you can get like, but then if something is really special and the person says, you know, comes up and it's like, you have no idea what you meant to my husband, you know, I lost him, and they show him a picture or whatever, you know, it can touch people. We're people, and we all have everybody's got a story. And the most interesting person in the room isn't always the person who's at the front of the room.
I see. Explain what makes the State Theater different from your average theater.
Well, for one thing, we're a presenting theater, so not everyone is a presenting theater. Some are, you know, so that makes it different. What makes our building different is that it's extraordinary. I mean, and it isn't what you think. Like, it isn't about creativity or anything like that. Up above us, I don't know if you can see it in the dark, there's a steel grid up there that's 55 feet over or up in the air, and it holds a ton. Or, I mean, tons.
Wow.
I don't have the exact number, but it makes this building the only building really in the region that's really capable of doing these Broadway shows because of the, you know, all the lines and all the things that can fly up there. I mean, cars, things come up, come down during a show. You know, all these line sets, all this stuff. So this building is extraordinary. We also have all this space. We have another building.
Oh, wow.
So that we have space here to be able to do things and make the magic even bigger and better here. So we have an extraordinary building. Plus, it also has so much history. I don't think we've ever had an artist walk on this stage and not go, oh my God, this building's incredible. You know, they love the history of it. And they love standing on a stage that all these great performers have preceded them. So probably the history, the perfect acoustics, but from a technical standpoint, the capability of the building is amazing. The problem is, right now, twofold. We're in an era where people, especially younger people, are used to getting entertainment on ears and video and not necessarily live entertainment. They haven't grown up being exposed, like having a grandparent or a parent take them to a show and see what a theater is, you know. They think a theater is at the mall, you know, movie theater. So, you know, we have to introduce younger people to the theatrical experience because everything's not supposed to just be listened to, you know, in a recording. And the other problem in this area is that we have so many riches. We have 25 venues doing entertainment. I don't know how much time you have to, I mean, how do you go to 25 different places? There's probably enough entertainment in this area to go out to 3 different shows a night. So there's a lot of competition. But the biggest competition is watching something on a computer or staying home and watching a movie. And we all do that. But you know, you got to get up and get out and experience other people. Things are meant to be shared. It's an entirely different experience. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. I mean, to go see a show with an audience is completely different than watching it on TV.
I definitely was in a show, or I went to a show. Shout out to Sales University. I saw Pippin, and just to be in that seat and see my friends just go out there and do what they love, and it brought a new light to perceiving theater and just perceiving live shows. And it's so different than seeing a movie, so different than a basketball game or a sporting event. It's something where you feel connected. And at the end of the day.
But sporting events, though, that's a good example, though, too. You know, I'm not a big sports person, you know, and I say to my husband, this has got to be better than sitting out in that crowd. And he looks at me and goes, "Are you nuts? I'd give anything to be at that game." You know, not if it's raining, pouring, ice, you know, then he'll say, "Well, this is a good seat." You know, this is good. But he's like, "You don't understand the experience." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's freezing." He goes, "No, it's great." You know, I mean, being there. You know, being there.
Yeah.
And by the way, how great a theater is that actual venue of DeSille. I love that theater.
It's amazing.
I love that theater.
Yeah, it came to life.
Intimate, and it's
I was
wonderful.
sitting like right in the front, and
It's wonderful.
you felt like you were there. So
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
end of the day, I loved it.
And
Yeah.
you never know when an experience, you know, is gonna hit you. You're banking all this stuff, you know, and then someday, some moment, you know, you'll be like, "Oh, you know, that I remember, you know, something about that." You'll pull it out and say, you know,
I have it now.
Yeah, and you'll always have it.
I love that. Can you explain the State Theater's involvement in giving back to the community?
I mean, there's the emotional give back that we've, you know, been talking about. I mean, just the fact that people, they walk out of here with their program, and you don't find 1,500 programs laying in the garbage. They take it home because it's a memory. I always say our product, if people ask what our product is we make memories here. Memories, that's what we do. That's what we do. And it doesn't really matter, as I said to you, whether it's sad or happy or, I mean, obviously, not sad, that's the wrong word, emotional, but we make memories here. So there's that value. Economically, there's enormous value to a city to have people coming here, working here. When we have, you know, 50 or 60 people who are here maybe for a few days, staying in hotels, eating in restaurants, then the audience, they go out to eat before, they go out after, they go here. They pay to park, they pay to, you know, I mean, the value to have this in a downtown is enormous. I mean, it's a magnet attracting 1,500 people when we have shows and everything. And then you have people on the street, you have life in a city that could be dark. If this place were dark, I mean, and there were no show nights, it would be just a dark street at night because most of the things aren't open. The restaurants are, but they don't have the crowds making reservations, you know, excited to see the show and everything. That wouldn't be there. So it's a tremendous economic driver.
I see.
But the emotional value, of course, is to just to have it here. I always thank, at shows where there are kids, I always thank the people who brought them. I always say, let's take a minute and hug the person who brought you here. And then I say to the adults, you know, this is amazing. Because you can't imagine the number of stories of people who say, you know, I brought my 3-year-old granddaughter. One of my friends brought his 3-year-old granddaughter to see Peter Pan. And he said to me, it transformed her, that experience of seeing that.
Wow.
You know, she became really interested, wanted to come back, see more things. And she ended up growing up and going into theater.
Wow.
You know, but he saw it.
Especially when they're kids, seeing it come to life, and now
and they don't know they can't do it. There was a school that joined the Freddy Awards very late in the game. They didn't have a musical theater program. And they came in, they started a musical theater program, and they came in like gangbusters. And I think it was like the second year they were in, they received the Freddy for the Outstanding Show, and then they got it again the next year. And it's not a school with a lot of resources. And I was talking to my Freddy coordinator, I'm saying, how do they do that there? What do they tell them? How is this happening? And his comment to me was, maybe they don't tell them they can't do it.
That's powerful. Why are the arts so important, especially in the community?
It's valuable because you can show people what's possible, especially young people. And the other thing is it's emotional. When 9/11 happened, and I don't know how well you remember that, but it was devastating, devastating emotionally for people. I mean, it just wrecked them. And some Broadway shows closed because people stopped going. I mean, the country just stopped in many ways. And we had like 3 shows, you know, that it was like, we're in trouble, you know, because nobody's. And then it started to be the holidays, and people wanted to be here and find the warmth they wanted to get their hearts back. And music, if you think about it, I don't know how well you remember that, but photographs, music, that's what got people through that. You know, it was, if there were none of that, I don't know that people could have recovered. It was that human connection. It was, not everybody shares their pain in words. Not everybody gets better through words. If it were that easy, you could just say, oh, snap out of it, you're fine. The terrible thing that happened to this country, when I was in TV when I was young, I was influenced very early by Fred Rogers, who now is very well appreciated and respected. But back then, not so much. It was back when he was Mr. Rogers with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And he was one of my first big interviews. And you know, kindness, tenderness, that's how people communicate, you know, and that's how they heal from things. And you know, it's just super important to have other ways to talk to people than just, you're fine. There's other ways to show them and to bring them along. And we need that. We need that connection. We're human beings. We're not meant to not connect emotionally. And that's what the arts can do.
That's amazing. And you think about the arts, it's so much, there's theater, there's dance, there's music, and singing. There's
and the visual arts.
Visual.
Same thing. Painting and drawing and sculpting and you know, the power of things. I mean, it's just amazing. It just has great healing powers to me. That's why it's important.
I agree. I appreciate that. What is the most memorable moment you remember happening at the State Theater?
The very first year of the very first Freddy Awards, when that first number ended. And I realized, along with, I can only speak for myself, but just, oh my goodness. You know, this vision of, we can do this, it was incredible. And I say to this day, because when I wanted to do it as a TV show, I went to WFMZ, Channel 69, to say, I think you need to you be the TV, we'll do this. We had no experience with this. I came from TV, so the smart answer, the answer that I should have received was, okay, we'll do it on tape. And I would have argued to do it live. And they would have said, no, we're gonna do it on tape for the first year. You know, we're gonna, because it's 3 hours of live I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it took some convincing, but Barry Fisher, who I give full credit, agreed to that.
Yeah.
And I say to this day, and I've said it on television, I've said it, he was crazy to do that. I mean, you know, we were flying without a net.
Wow.
But it made it what it is. That has to probably be the most memorable.
That's amazing. You had a vision, and seeing it come to life, that's definitely the best thing, the best feeling.
Everybody just like got it. It's like when I was saying to you about, we thought we could do it.
And at the end of the day.
So how many times do you think, maybe, if you think you can do something, maybe you can?
It's powerful. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Final question. What does the State Theater mean to you?
First of all, the best thing about being here, because when I came, it was really having a hard time. So I got to put together, you know, I get to hire everybody who's here. And so that was the greatest blessing, because the people here are what makes this doable. I mean, they're the strength. And, you know, to be a part of something that is based so much, you know, you make me cry, on passion and kindness. That's the world that we have here, and I think that's the success of the theater. So to be able to be around that and to work that way and to be a part of that, that's what it means to me.
It's amazing. It's powerful.
Thank you for asking me that question.
Of course. We know how much something means to us after we figure out like why we're here. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, when we think back to that's the reason, it brings us back to like, okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Seeing how many lives it impacts. And
you got to be down the road a ways to get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. Maybe that's the gift of getting older, is that you don't realize that when you're doing a lot of it, you know,
when
in
you're
the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's cold and you don't have the money to pay the bills and you don't. I remember one night coming here, when I first came here, and I didn't come from theater. I didn't know anything about how to run a theater. And I got a call in the middle of the night that the sprinkler system had a hole in it and was filling up the basement. And so I came in my, you know, raincoat over my pajamas and was standing down there, and we had a show the next night. It was very early on, and it was sold out. Porgy and Bess. And the guy said, oh, you know, we were up to here in water, and I mean, I don't know anything about this, you know, and it was like calling people and what are we gonna do? And if you can't have the sprinkler system, you can't have the show, you can't have people here, we'd have to give all the money back, we didn't have the money to give it back, you know, and it was like, oh God, what are we gonna do? And it turned out that the hole turned out to be, the end, it was easily repaired, even though we didn't really have the money for it. But I mean, it was just like, why am I doing this? You know, and the people that I got to come here that first year, you know, we're all gonna lose our jobs, you know, what, you know. And it was just like, you know, at the end of the day, you look back on those things and, you know, you make it, you know? It's all part of the journey. And sometimes things look really, really dismal. But, you know, you get up the next day and you say, every day's not a winner, you know? And you got to keep going and figure it out. And there's plenty of time. I mean, I'm nothing, I mean, I've had many things in my life I've walked away from. Because it was hard, you know, but, you know, I had so many responsibilities here, and it meant so much to me to prove that we could do it. And, you know, you find, and when you have people around you who support you, that's what I mean about with the Freddys too. When you're part of a team that doesn't walk away either. I'll tell you one last story. Is that okay?
Yes.
Then we're done. One year with the Freddy Awards, we had terrible technical problems, terrible. The hardest part of it is getting the TV and all on the same, you know, because you're taking live stuff and putting getting the sound on the, I mean, you know, it's really hard. And we had a horrible dress rehearsal, horrible. We had to stop it. So in essence, we had no dress, I mean, it was just a disaster. And so we were all sitting here. I was sitting in the front row, and the TV guys were sitting on the edge of the stage, and we were all trying to figure out, there were a whole bunch of us, but we're trying to figure out what we were going to do. I mean, what were we going to do? This was disastrous. And I guess it was about 2 a.m. we finally were like, well, here's what we're going to do, and and I got up to leave and turned around, and like the whole team was still here. And it was like, they could have left. You know, but when it's not just your problem, you can make magic.
Togetherness. They knew the importance of doing this together. We started together, we're gonna finish together.
We're not gonna let each other down. You can really do great things when that happens.
That's amazing.
Way more important than money. It's never about money.
I'm appreciative of this day. I'm thankful to learn about you and learn about the State Theater and what it's done for the community. The whole goal is to highlight what great things are happening in the community, and I knew the State Theater was a staple for that. And I want to thank you. You're inspiring. You're someone who people look up to, and at the end of the day, we need more of that. And for the younger generation and anybody else that just wants to make a difference, to see what you're doing is definitely something to look after. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Of course. To the viewers, This was Adventures with Julien, episode 13. Thank you guys for tuning in with the awesome CEO of State Theater, Shelley Brown. Enjoy your day, and as always, if you believe, you shall achieve. Peace.